They all said the same thing. It was just a noise. It was probably nothing. They were wrong, because everyone who looked outside at 3 a.m. regretted it forever. There's an unspoken rule people don't talk about, a quiet piece of folklore, passed down in hushed whispers and nervous glances. If you wake up at 3 a.m., the dead of night, the witching hour, and you hear something outside your window, don't look. Don't even get close. Husturnober. Close your eyes and pretend you heard nothing. This isn't about being brave or facing your fears. This isn't a ghost story designed to scare children. It's a warning, not because what's out there is terrifying to see, but because whatever's out there, it waits for you to notice it. It's patient. It knows that human curiosity is a powerful, irresistibly force. It relies on Italiano. And once you give in, once your eyes meet the darkness beyond the glass, a connection is made. A connection you could never break. Let me tell you about one man, lived in a quiet suburban cul-de-sac. He was a light sleeper, always had been. One Tuesday night, he woke up. The clock on his bedside table glowed a soft red. 3 a.m. And then he heard it. Footsteps on the pavement outside his house. They weren't rushed. They were slow, deliberate, careful. A steady rhythm of one foot after the other, repeating over and over. He lay in bed, listening, his heart beginning to beat a little faster. It could be a neighbor walking their dog, he told himself. But at this hour, the footsteps stopped directly in front of his house. Silence. A long, heavy silence that felt louder than the footsteps themselves. He couldn't resist. He crept out of bed, inching his way to the window, peering through a small gap in the curtains. He looked outside. The street was completely empty. No cars, no people, not even a stray cat. Just a single solitary streetlight casting a sickly yellow-orange glow on the asphalt. On, off, on, off. A frantic, irregular pulse of light. He watched, mesmerized, as the flickering grew faster and faster. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light stopped flickering. It stayed on, bright and steady. And in that steady, unwavering light, something stepped into view. It didn't walk into the light. It was just there, standing, motionless, directly under the lamp, facing his window. He would later say that the worst part wasn't what he saw. He couldn't even describe it properly. It was tall and thin, but the shape was wrong, distorted, like a shadow that had been stretched and twisted. The real horror was what happened next. The thing didn't move. It didn't wave. It didn't threaten him in any way. It just stood there, a silent sentinel in the dead of night, as if waiting for permission to do something. As if his gaze was the key it needed. And he stumbled back from the window, his breath catching in his throat. He fell back onto his bed, pulling the covers over his head like a child. And in that moment, he heard a sound that made his blood run cold. A sharp, distinct knock. It wasn't on his front door. It was on the window pane. A single, sharp rap on the glass. just inches from where his face had been. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night. He never looked out that window at night again. But sometimes, late at night when the house is quiet, he thinks he can still hear it. A faint, patient tapping. This isn't an isolated incident. The stories are all chillingly similar. Different people, different towns, different countries. A truck driver at a deserted rest stop. A family in a remote farmhouse. The time is always the same. And the outcome is always the same. They all say it didn't chase them. It didn't break in. It didn't have to. It just made sure they knew it existed. It made a connection. And once you see it, once it knows you've seen it, it knows where you are. Forever. It's like a phone number. It can never forget. You might move houses, move cities, even move across the world. But it doesn't matter. The connection is already there. Not by a ghost, but by a memory. A memory that waits for you in the dark. A memory that knows your name and where you sleep. One of the most disturbing pieces of evidence was found on a discarded cell phone. The police found it in an abandoned car on the side of a highway. The phone had only one video file on it, recorded just hours before it was found. The video begins with a man filming his own bedroom window. It's dark outside. The room is lit only by the screen of the phone he's holding. He shakily pans the camera to his alarm clock. The digital display reads 2:59 a.m. He's breathing heavily. You can hear a faint, unidentifiable scratching sound coming from outside. The man aims the camera back at the window. The seconds on the clock tick by in his mind. A silent countdown. As the clock would have turned to 3 o'clock, the camera suddenly shakes violently. The man's breathing changes. It becomes a choked, terrified gasp. He whispers 2 words, his voice trembling with a finality that is absolutely bone-chilling. It noticed me. At that exact moment, the video cuts to black, but the audio keeps recording for 6 long, agonizing minutes. All you can hear is the sound of the man's ragged, panicked breathing and something else. People think 3 a.m. is scary because it's quiet, because it's the time when the world sleeps and our primal fears of the dark take over. That's not why. That's not the real reason. It's scary because it's when something checks to see who's awake. It's an audit of the conscious. It's looking for the insomniacs, the worriers, the ones who wake from a bad dream and can't fall back asleep. It's looking for the ones who are just curious enough to pull back the curtain. Who's watching? Who's listening? A moment of satisfying your curiosity for a lifetime of being known. It's a simple, terrible transaction, and it happens every single night. So if you wake up tonight, and the house is still and silent, and the clock says 3 a.m., and you hear something outside, a footstep, don't go to the window. Don't look. Because the people who did, they aren't afraid of what they saw.